I don't know if I'm making the right decision, and that's probably the hardest part about being an overthinker. I want certainty before I make a choice. I want to know that I'm going to be okay before I take the first step. But life doesn't really work that way. I've been thinking about this a lot lately about changes, decisions, and especially the difference between facts and fears. Because I think when I am at the crossroads, it's very easy for me to forget the difference about these two and consider a lot of fears as being true. Like when I think about if I'm good enough for the challenge, or if this is the right decision, or about if this is what is going to lead me into what I want, there's a good possibility, and I always experience this, that fear seem like a possibility. They actually are, but what I would like to keep in mind right now is fear are not facts. And yeah, stick to the facts and trying to be positive about a change. And I think that's something I really need to remind myself of because change is difficult, even when I know I need it. I can be excited about something new and still feel sad about leaving something behind. I can know that I'm ready and still be scared. I can make a brave decision and still question myself 5 minutes later. And maybe that's okay. Maybe feeling uncertain doesn't mean I've made the wrong decision. Maybe it just means I'm human. I've also realized that a change isn't always big or like overly dramatic. It could be changing jobs and moving to a different cities, but it could be also as tiny as changing your breakfast cereal. And big or tiny, I usually overthink about all of the decisions because I feel I want to get a certain level of certainty about this. I want to understand and very like be very sure about the outcome because before even taking the decision. But I understand that's not always possible. And this is how change works. You have to live in uncertainty for some time, maybe, in order to explore new horizons. And maybe that's where a change in perspective helps. Sometimes I have to zoom in, look at what's immediately in front of me, make the decision, deal with the emotion, do the thing that needs to be done. But sometimes I need to zoom out because one decision is just one decision. One move is just one move. One chapter is one chapter. It's not my whole life. I came to this lake for the first time recently, and I've lived nearby for like 3 years. And honestly, this should be a crime. But being here made me think about how often I live so close to something beautiful and don't even know about it. Maybe life is like that a little too. Sometimes I'm so focused on one difficult thing, one decision, one fear that I forget to look around. Nature does that for me. It helps me reconnect with myself. It quietens all the noises in my head, and just for a little while, I don't have to figure anything out. I can just exist. And I think that's what I needed before this new beginning. A little space, a little quiet, a little time to remember that my life is bigger than whatever is worrying me right now. I've been thinking about the clouds a lot too. I can look at the sky and see nothing but grey. And for that moment, the sun isn't visible. But the sun hasn't disappeared. The sunset hasn't stopped existing. And I think there can be so many things like that in our lives: good things, possibilities, love, accomplishments, beautiful moments, an entire life existing around us, even if we are unable to see it in the moment. And I think I especially need to remind myself of that during times of change. Because you never know what's gonna be coming next. It's always difficult. And I'm someone who likes to be very careful and thought through about all the steps in my life, like different paths or different decisions. But I've realized that being overcautious is also one of my decisions, I would say. And sometimes being overcautious could impact me negatively and like ruin the possibility of something great, because this was certain kind of risk which I could not take because I was overcautious. So I'm learning that taking risk is a very good quality, and yeah, I'm working on that. Taking risks is a part of life. Not reckless risk, but the kind where we don't have all the answers and we choose to move anyway. And maybe we don't need to know about everything, because whatever happens, we'll learn something. We'll discover something new about ourselves. We'll become a slightly different person that we were before. And maybe that's enough.